A big thanks goes out to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video.
There's a great example of a nurse log. You can see this old tree that's fallen here, and then we have all of these other trees growing out of it. Yeah, that's a really great example, because this is quite a large tree right here. This is beautiful in here. Finding photographs though is like all forests. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I think I'm going to wander around a couple of times. I don't think it's a very big loop, and just check it out first and then decide what I'm going to do. The light is actually quite nice today. It's somewhat sunny, but there are clouds in the sky, so every now and then it gets kind of subdued. But as you can see, very, very busy. So in this case, what I'll try to do is find details rather than try to include the whole thing. Like if I point my camera at that in front of me, it's just too busy. So I'm going to have to simplify that somehow. How, I'm not sure, but if I do find something, then I'll be sure to let you know. Wow, that's quite the specimen. That is beautiful. All right, another nice boardwalk. The textures in this old cedar are just fabulous. Look at this burl here. Wow, this is great. I want to see if I can get a shot of this specimen here. Of course, Brian's hogging my spot. He was hogging my spot. This is beautiful. I am having a bit of a hard time with the busyness of this scene, but I think I can make it work. I've decided to do a pano, and the reason being is that as a pano, I'm just including the central portion of the scene. And the reason why I want to do that is because the base of the tree is looking quite kind of scruffy, primarily because of the time of the year. A lot of these plants are looking a bit kind of sad because we've had snow here in the last several weeks, so that flattens everything out. I would imagine that in the spring things start to liven up a bit more, a lot more greenery to hide patches of dirt and old logs and such. So I'm going to do a pano. I'm just trying to decide whether to use a polarizer or not. And I've said this a lot of times in my videos. I'll probably end up using a polarizer sparingly, because I do like the glare on the salal in the background there. I think it gives it texture and depth. If you use a polarizer too much, it gets rid of that, and then it kind of flattens the image out. But it does saturate the colors, and if that's what you want, then that's what you should do. I really like the burl in the middle there. That's just beautiful, and the textures. So the light is perfect right now. So I'll just include the large cedar as a main subject. Then we have another cedar in the background, kind of balances it a little bit. This busyness I'm not terribly excited about, but I'm not going to go in there and move it all. So it'll have to be part of the image. So pano right across the center here. And then I really love the textures in that, so I'm just going to zoom in on those, try and simplify the scene ever so slightly. So let's take those images and we'll see how they turn out.
thought it'd be kind of fun to put a comparison image up here. While I was talking about taking an image with and without a polarizer. So I've put both versions up on the screen here, and I'm sure you can choose which one has been taken with a polarizer and which one is without. I actually prefer the photograph on the left, and that's the one without the polarizer. And the reason being is that, to my eye, it just looks more ethereal. It's got a little bit more depth because of the contrast, and I like all the details in the salal in the background. If you look on the image on the right, it has flattened it out, the polarizer. It's saturated the image quite a bit, which can be a benefit to some people. I don't really like my images oversaturated, but of course those things are really easy to take out in post-processing, and also it's easy to add contrast to brighter areas and dark areas in Photoshop or Lightroom or whatever you happen to use as well. But I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on this. So if you have an opinion, please leave it in the comments down below. So this is the raw file, and here are the finished images. And basically all I've done is I've just cropped it to the way that I wanted it, and I've also added contrast to both photographs. But I still like the image without the polarizer. So let me know your thoughts.
I think I found another composition. I think one of the things about coming to these areas is that obviously the more time you spend in one area, eventually you start to get into the jive of things and start seeing things that if you just walk through really fast, then you'll probably miss them. This Western red cedar right here is massive, as is the one with the burly bark. So I'm going to try and take some shots with both of them in. I'm not sure whether to leave a gap between them or kind of merge them, do like a focus stack and merge them. Maybe I'll try both. But I do love the textures in there. It's just the ground cover that's a bit messy. So if I can try and avoid that, then that would really help. It's the only problem with going vlogging with other vloggers. They're always talking.
Sometimes this one leads without the unit, so that's why I'm trying to just
I'll wait 5 minutes.
So this is probably going to be the last shot in this area. Nestled in the background.
All right, this might work. Actually, this is quite busy here, but I do like this because it there's salal growing in between these logs with the moss on them, and then I mean it's a relatively clean image, if you can believe that, or scene. That's what I think anyway. So I'm going to try and find a composition in here. I love the angles of these logs, kind of crisscrossing in the foreground, and then the tree in the background. Now, the only problem with this is if I put on a wide angle lens, then the tree is going to be quite small in the background. So I might want to back off to where the video camera is, use a slightly longer lens to help zoom in on the background tree, if that makes sense. So if I'm too wide here, then the background is just going to get lost. But I want to bring that tree forward because that's a really nice looking big old Western red cedar. So let me get my camera gear out and set up here, see what we can find. All right, after the playing around with the composition a little bit, I've kind of gone against what I was saying earlier about making the tree a little bit bigger. I think I find the foreground more interesting right now. So I'm going to put more emphasis on that. So I've got in quite close with a wide angle lens, and I've got this beautiful salal in the foreground. And the trees are in the background, but there's more emphasis on this. And then I think what I'm going to try and do is, like I said earlier, back up a bit and try and zoom in more on the trees, because the light right now is actually really quite beautiful. I'm just going to put on a case polarizer because there is a lot of glare on the salal, and I want to try and mitigate that just a little bit because I think it's a bit overpowering. So let's see what we can come up with. Yeah, this is really nice. We've got the mossy log here, crisscrossing, and then the trees back here. This kind of stick or branch, maybe where the camera is, you can see that it's kind of over to the side a bit, so we're not blocking the tree there. All right, let's see if that works.
Thank you once again to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. Are you ready to take your online presence to the next level? Meet Design Intelligence by Squarespace, a fusion of world-class design and AI technology that unlocks your creative potential like never before. Build a stunning, personalized website that's as unique as you are and stands out from the crowd. With Squarespace Payments, managing transactions is easier than ever. Get started in just a few clicks and let your customers pay their way, whether it's Apple Pay, Afterpay, or more. Need to invoice clients? Squarespace has you covered. Simplify your workflow and focus on growing your business. If you're interested in building an awesome website, why not head on over to squarespace.com and give it a try. And if you like what you find, use the code AdamGibbs for 10% off your first purchase.
Well, good morning. Oh, bit of a rough night last night. How did you sleep, Bri?
A bit rough today. I think I was snoring.
You were snoring. Sounded like a freight train.
I've got a snore.
I think I was snoring too. We were probably in sync. I had the weirdest dream last night. It was just the weirdest thing. So I dreamt that we got up at, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you decided that we needed to go, but you couldn't be bothered to put the tent down. So we drove off, and then, I mean, where we were going to go is just right across the road here, but we ended up in some really sketchy part of town, and there was these 3 guys there, and they were trying to rob us. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, you just come out and spray one of them with bear spray, and then they're all getting quite angry at us, for good reason, I guess. So I get my bear spray out and start spraying them as well. So then we decide to try and take off, and the van won't move because one of the guy lines from the tent is stuck around the tire, and the van can't move. It was just the weirdest thing. Then I woke up. All right, well, we've come out to Gordon Bay, which is away from the west coast. It's more on the kind of central east. We thought that there might be some fog this morning, but there isn't. It's actually drizzling. So we've got to decide what we're going to do. We haven't decided yet. The best thing I can decide right now is that I need to make a cup of tea. So that's as far as I've got.
All right, everybody, thank you ever so much for watching this week's video. I really appreciate it. As always, be sure to leave us a thumbs up if you did enjoy the video. Before I leave you, for those of you that might be planning a trip to Vancouver Island for some photography, I have put together a photography guidebook. I've been meaning to do this for quite some time now, and I finally got around to it. It's with a company called Rexby, and they're at rexby.com. If you'd like a link, it's down in the description. And basically, you just go to the website, pay a fee for the guidebook, and you're free to use it as long as you like. And the other good thing is that as I update the guidebook, all the updates are included in the fee as well. So you don't have to pay any more money, just pay a one-time fee, and then that's it. So if you're interested in that and interested in photographing on Vancouver Island, be sure to go and check it out. All right, until next time, bye-bye.